the Grand Theft Auto PlayStation 2 era games are being remastered, which is fantastic. We're talking about Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, which in my opinion are some of the best titles in the entire Grand Theft Auto franchise. 4 is great, 5's great. Don't get me wrong, the PS3 and 4 got some love as well, but the PS2 era really sprung forth the Grand Theft Auto series when it made the jump from over-the-top 2D animation to 3D. Probably one of the most violent video games for the time. And because of that controversy, it actually just kind of exploded with its popularity and whatnot. So this is going to be awesome. This is part of my childhood here, so I'm really excited to replay them, and it's kind of interesting how they're going about it. So currently it appears these games will be released later this fall for a multitude of platforms, including the Switch. Now that kind of surprised me. Games typically do not run well on the Switch. We're talking stressing out to hit 30 frames per second. If you look at a lot of games that have been ported over to the Switch, for example, Doom Eternal and Apex Legends, they're on ultra low settings, a rough 30 frames per second, so it'll be interesting to see how these remasters work. For the past year, rumors have swirled around Twitter, Reddit, and various message boards that Rockstar is working on remakes or remasters of classic PS2 era GTA titles. So those are two completely different things, a remake or a remaster. A remaster is a fresh coat of paint, some fresh texture packs and whatnot, a little bit prettier graphics, maybe a slight audio buff. A remake, for example, with what we saw with Final Fantasy VII, which was a damn good game, in my opinion. I gave that a 10 out of 10 bananas on the Stiffy meter, which is my accurate meter there on Gamer Heaven. They did a great job with that game, and basically they just take the core story and remake the entire game from the ground up, and that is a remake. These rumors only grew in popularity as Rockstar's parent company, Take-Two Interactive, used DMCA strikes to remove strikes and takedowns to remove classic GTA mods. So they attacked the PC modding community, who's been modding their games for about 2 decades. Start going after them now. With some of the mods have been on the market, I guess you could say, for about 8 to 10 years. So it's interesting that all of a sudden they show such an interest in attacking these modders. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, that's because they're developing a remake to this game. And then more and more rumors started coming out, kind of solidifying that, yes, that is happening. And now this article from Kotaku, which just came out yesterday, is a corroboration of 3 different sources, 3 verified sources, that GTA remasters are currently in the final stages of development. So very exciting stuff. They are using the Unreal Engine and will be a mix of new and old graphics. Now, when I read that, the first thing I immediately thought of is that most likely, here, I'm going to pop you guys into a nice little sexy screen here. What I thought of immediately is that most likely it is going to be remastered graphics during the actual gameplay, but it is going to be, unfortunately, during the cutscenes, probably the original graphics. We've seen that with a lot of remakes. Ratchet & Clank Remastered and a couple of the other titles that I can't think of right now. God of War. The gameplay, the core gameplay is buffed up to modern standards, but then you watch the cutscenes and you're like, ooh, scorching my corneas here, sweetheart. You go back in time a little bit. It's very nice. The UI for the games is being updated too, but will retain the classic style as well. So most likely that's just going to be the menus, the way you browse the game, maybe some of the controls and whatnot, but I think the core gameplay is going to remain true to the originals. At least I sure as shit hope so. As again, these 3 titles are fantastic. This is going to be live, but obviously I probably will reformat some of this content for YouTube videos. And if you want to catch up more with this, these articles will be cited in those videos there. Or I guess you could quickly take a gander here at this article URL and look it up there.